Let's talk about getting the perfect black patina and polish on your stained glass projects every time. My name is Jen, and I have been teaching myself how to make stained glass at home since about March of 2025. I can't take credit for the information that I'm going to share with you. It actually came from multiple sources, from Facebook groups to watching videos, doing my own research on different websites, and talking to people who make stained glass in real life. Or I guess I should say talking to people offline who make stained glass. This all came about when I began to notice that my patina was getting worse and worse on my projects, while my overall progress in making stained glass seemed to be improving. You can see in this video this was my first attempt at the shooting star stained glass project. It looks rusted, inconsistent. I couldn't figure out why all of a sudden it was all just going downhill. I started to notice an increase in comments from other people online that they were using the same brand I did, Novacan, and I think it's what most people are using, to be honest. A ton of people were saying that it was the brand itself, and some batches were just not up to par. It was sort of like they were saying the quality just wasn't there for the brand itself, and almost like the inconsistency is just something that you have to deal with when it comes to working with it. Spoiler alert, I'm finding that that isn't actually the case, although it did make me feel so much better as a beginner in stained glass to think that it wasn't me, but rather the materials that I was using. What a relief, right? So I began testing everything that I was reading about: flux cleaner, baking soda, different types of sponges to scrub my pieces. If someone said it worked to get that solid black patina, I was gonna try it. But nothing was working until someone told me about steel wool. Now, I am sure there are a lot of other ways that you could go about getting your patina to get that deep black or that bright copper look, but this is what's been working for me, so this is what I'm going to share. Not only has it been working, but there was one project where my patina was just, I was so unhappy with it, and I decided to reapply it after cleaning it again with the method I'm about to share with you, and it made it look so much more beautiful. As long as you're re-cleaning the piece before applying the wax, what I'm going to share with you should work. And if it doesn't, clean it again and reapply it until you're happy with your results. I've just been using Dawn dish soap and I'm really happy with it, so I'm going to advocate for it, but I know there are other options out there. Scrub your piece with Dawn dish soap and a steel wool pad. Keep scrubbing. If you're not sort of washing it in a tub or a plastic container, you might have to add more Dawn dish soap as you're cleaning. Just keep reapplying the suds and keep scrubbing that solder with the steel wool pad to get all of the flux off. Scratch up the solder. Don't worry, you're not going to see the scratch marks after you apply your patina. When you're done scrubbing, scrub some more. The problem that I'm still having with figuring out that perfect patina is that you can't really tell when you've scrubbed enough and gotten all of the flux off. Sure, you might be able to see a spot here or there where it's a little more dull and you can figure out if you need to scrub it better, but overall, solder is really difficult to see if you've missed a spot before you actually apply your patina. I should also note that unfortunately I don't have a cute kitchen setup. It's messy, it's a small working space, and my camera holder just doesn't work for the angle that I would need. So the footage that you're currently watching is just me applying the patina and not the steel wool scrubber that I keep referencing. I know that people who make stained glass will know that, but I have a lot of beginners that follow me or people who are just sort of looking to get into making stained glass, so I wanted to make sure that I made note of that. But let's continue. The nice part is that you can fix the patina and make it look perfect if you are unhappy with the first attempt. What you're seeing right now is that steel wool pad and a little tub that I was referring to. Super hard to actually film. This is not how it would normally look if you're washing it, and I do recommend, especially if you're taking off the patina, to wear gloves. So after you've scrubbed your piece with steel wool and Dawn dish soap until you can't scrub it anymore, rinse it off and let it dry completely. Once your piece is completely dry, you can reapply that patina. I like to use the glove to go over it and then a toothbrush to help me get into all those little nooks and crannies. Some people just use a glove, some people use cotton balls, whatever you prefer. Rinse your piece within a few minutes. For those who may not know, the patina itself can have a negative impact on your glass, so you don't want to let it soak. You'll see the reaction instantly, and letting it sit on there longer won't make any difference when it comes to the patina or making it any darker. Another detail that I want to mention is that I have really hard water at my house, which I thought was the cause of some of my issues with the patina. Eventually, I'll begin to test out the distilled water to not only rinse the patina, but to also wash the flux off just to see if it has an impact. But right now, with my hard water, I haven't had any issues since switching to this new method. So I don't think it has anything to do with that, but a lot of people will suggest purified or distilled water for washing as well as rinsing the patina. After you rinse the patina, you'll be able to tell if you're happy with it or not. Reapplying it at that point wouldn't do anything. The reaction isn't going to change it or make it darker. So if you're unhappy with it, take your piece and repeat the steps of scrubbing it again with Dawn dish soap and a steel wool pad. This time you'll be able to spot those areas you may have missed the first time around because it'll be a little bit more dull or a little bit more rusted looking, so that helps. And then let it dry completely again and reapply the patina. I've never had to do this more than once, and by the second time my patina looked good as new with that deep black color and consistency throughout the entire piece. But if you're still struggling, just repeat those steps until you get it to where you want it to be. Now, let's talk about polish. When I first started, I used what I saw recommended, which was car wax. Anything with carnauba wax in it should work, but I used whatever professionals were suggesting because they'd been doing it longer than I was. It was another step that I really struggled with. To this day, I don't know why I couldn't figure out the wax method. I don't know if that's just how it is or what I was doing incorrectly, but no matter what I tried or did, more wax, less wax, microcloth to buff, or just using gloves to buff it, it never worked. I was getting dried up wax on the solder lines weeks after I had finished the project, and it was just sort of hanging up there. I also just wasn't happy with how it made the glass look almost greasy instead of polished. I kept seeing comments online about pledge, but no one really talked about what type of pledge it was. So for the record, it is the lemon pledge that you see in this video. It is so easy to work with, and it has given me such amazing results that I am Team Pledge all day long. All you have to do is spray your piece on both sides and really soak it. Don't just do a light spritz. Let it sit overnight or for 24 hours, and when it's time, you take a microcloth and buff your piece. It will come out looking shiny and beautiful, no weird dried wax coming up weeks later. It's also really great because if you need to polish it again in the near future, it's so simple. And it's a huge perk if you are selling your pieces or giving them away because most people have pledge, so they're able to kind of repolish it themselves without any issues. That's it. Steel wool and pledge have been the key to my perfect patina after weeks and weeks of struggling to figure it out. Hopefully this helps someone, and until next time, stay glassy.